Cuba, it's me. Welcome to episode 298 of the W.I.L.L.I.W show, which stands for Wrestling is Life. Life is Wrestling. Now, if you've been following the past week or so, I've been going through each province in Canada, talking about the current wrestling scene out there, trying to find and dig up as much information as I can when I only have like 10 minutes to spare every night. So I get on the Google machine and find out as much as I can, and try to look up the history of wrestling there. And today we fall upon Nova Scotia, a great province in Canada, and I found some information that I could find useful, but I also always look to the viewers to see if they can provide any information. Um, there's a bunch of wrestling promotions that ran out there. There's some that are currently inactive. The one that I first saw was Canadian Championship Wrestling. Now, they did some wrestling there in Nova Scotia between 1990 and 1992. The one with the most history that I was able to find is Eastern Sports Association. They started around 1969 and they had a heck of a run. They ran for many years, and it does not look like they currently do shows as of now. Then there was the New Breed Wrestling, which took place between 2008 and 2012, but I believe it stopped in 2012 from what I was able to see. Another one, East Coast Professional Wrestling. That one was from 2005 to 2010. And then the last one that I found was Mainstream Wrestling Entertainment, who had a good 12 to 13 year run. They started in 2000, and their last show was 2013. I was able to find out about some of the more famous wrestlers that come from Nova Scotia. There's Gary Wildman Williams. Now, in my last post talking about New Brunswick, Jonah Stewart was telling me how he used to travel from Prince Edward Island to New Brunswick to watch Gary Wildman Williams. And then apparently he was an incredible talent. And not only did he do shows in New Brunswick, apparently he was from Nova Scotia and did a lot of wrestling there as well. Then Rocky Johnson, the father of Dwayne Johnson, who was tag team champions with Tony Atlas. He was born in Nova Scotia, which I did not know actually at all, and I just found that out by reading all about Nova Scotia. So that was a shock to me, and it was kind of cool to find that out. And then the midget wrestler Farmer Brooks apparently was pretty famous out that way and had a good run for himself. Then there's Duke McIsaac, who is there's a lot of good things said about him. When I viewed his profile on the one, there's some kind of like Wikipedia or something. I just Googled famous pro wrestlers from Nova Scotia, and he was definitely one of the names. Then there's Greedo. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Greedo Mongol. He was famous. He wrestled in Stampede Wrestling and in the WWF. He was a tag team in the Mongols, and they won the I don't know if it was International Tag Team Champions, I believe twice. It might have just, I don't think it was the World. I think it was International Tag Team Champions or Intercontinental, something like that. Famous women wrestler, Catherine Power did very well for herself. And then also Krista Lynn Scott, she's been around, or she was in the wrestling scene for quite a long time. And they said she was the first wrestler to wrestle regularly for Grand Prix Wrestling, which I believe was in New Brunswick, since the Fabulous Moolah, and I guess she had a really good run out there. And then there's Lincoln Steen, who most people may have saw him on the Fight Network, had a show called Wrestling with Reality, and he was one of the prominent characters featured on there. And so they put him over pretty good in what I was able to see. Those are some of the wrestlers that I see either were born in Nova Scotia or made a big name for themselves wrestling out there. And then it said that there's two currently active promotions. Now, I'm not sure if one is, but the first one is Wrestle Center, and it's based out of Halifax, Nova Scotia. They started in 2014. I clicked on their Facebook page. They had a bunch of posts up from the summer of 2017. They had some big shows out there. Speedball Mike Bailey was on them. Kurt Angle was on them. They had plenty of video clips. They're also on, I can't remember now. Should have wrote it down. But they have like some kind of, it's either an app or a TV channel where they have their videos showed. But it didn't say anything about any upcoming events in the future for 2018. But I watched some of the videos, and they looked like they were really well produced. They had great crowds. They had Kurt Angles. There was some money behind them. Looked like there were some great shows, so hopefully they will continue running some shows. And then there's definitely one that's active. like I said, I'm not sure if Wrestle Center is still active. It says it's active, but then like I could not find anything, and I just went to the Facebook page, so I didn't go too deep in my digging, but it said nothing about 2018 shows. But the Ultimate Championship Wrestling, which started in 2007, they're based at a Spryfield, I think I'm saying that right, Nova Scotia. I checked out their thing, and they had a bunch of things from the end of December 2017, like year-end awards and what was the best match and stuff like that. And it says they do have a show coming up Saturday, January 27th, and they had like a poster for it, and it said the show was in Halifax. I didn't see any people that I knew that were going to be on the show, but I'm sure it's going to be some great talent. Um, but that's pretty much all I was able to find out about Nova Scotia. But I do like to look to my viewers because there's so many times where they come through with useful information or just tell me stuff that I didn't know or was glad to find out. And that's why I do this, is to put the awareness out, and I also like to learn this kind of stuff. I love learning the history. So let me know if you know anything about the history of Nova Scotia wrestling, maybe something I touched upon, maybe something I completely missed, or maybe something that I read, because the internet's not always true, if you know that it wasn't true what I said. So let me know about that. Or if you know anything about the current scene out there, maybe there is promotion out there that I have no idea and it just wasn't listed. Tell me about that. Do you follow the current scene? Do you watch any wrestling videos from any of these Nova Scotia? Or have you ever, as a fan, gone out to Nova Scotia to catch some shows? Maybe you grew up out there, or who knows? And if you're a wrestler, do you have any friends or colleagues out there? Have you ever wrestled yourself out there? Because as always, on the Willow Show, I like to hear from you guys. So make sure you like, or you get a leg drop. Make sure you comment, or you get a clothesline. And then subscribe, or you get a suplex. This is episode 298 of The Willow Show. I'm your host, Elian Habanero. I love wrestling. Cuba!